Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Adobe Live, the first stream of the day. I am your host for this morning. I guess it's afternoon for me, but I'm coming to you live from Ontario, Canada. My name is Brodie MacPhail. I'm an artist and illustrator, and today we're going to be going over some quick actions and functions in Adobe Photoshop. These are things that I found useful for me, and maybe you already know them, but maybe you don't, and maybe you'll find them useful for yourself. And as always, if you have any tips or tricks that maybe I'm not thinking of, or something that is even beyond pro tips that you want to bestow upon me, I'd be very, very grateful. Hope everyone's having a good day. I see some people in chat. Carol, Voodoo, what's going on? I got YouTube and Behance open, so feel free to say hello. Marcy, Miss Girl, what's going on? We're going to jump right into it here in just 1 second. I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to be going over two or three different functions here. Sorry, I had the stream audio open. It freaked me out. I heard myself there for a second. We're gonna jump over to my drawing here. And we're gonna start off by doing something, a little quick function that I like to call quick fill. So what we're gonna be working on is eventually we're gonna be having something that looks like this. We have my drawing here, and we are going to be making a quick function that allows us in one button to give ourselves a quick fill in any drawing that we make. And I'll show you how we can do this, what issues you might have when making this, because certainly I had some issues when trying to put some of these quick functions together, as well as some best practices and some different ways in which you can do it. So we'll start off by getting our drawing. I will mention, if you want to follow along, highly recommend, the way this will work the best is if you have an image that has strong, bold outlines. So you see my drawing here has a big, thick black outline around the outside of the whole thing. If you don't do this, this function relies on the fill bucket tool. So it'll just make your whole canvas that same color. So it has to be a closed shape for this to work. If you feel like I'm going too fast at all, you can ask me to slow down first and foremost, but also you can watch the replay back. You can put me on 0.25 speed. Just make sure to mute the stream because I will sound absolutely terrifying. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off by opening our actions. You can see how my actions open already up here to the top right. But if you do not see your actions, you can just quickly enable it by going to Window, go all the way down to the top one there, Actions, or Alt F9. I already have this one made, but we're going to make a new one. I'll delete this one. What I'm going to type in to start this command, and then we'll make it red. So I'm going to record. When I hit record now, so make sure from this point on, you're only doing exactly these steps, or it'll become part of your function. And I've definitely had to redo this a couple times myself because I kept clicking other things I wasn't supposed to, messing up my action. So just be wary of that. So I'm going to click record. We can tell we're recording because we can see that we have this little red dot here, which means our action is recording. So what we do next is very important. We are going to set our selection. So I'm going to go over to my magic wand tool on the top left there, left click that. We see that I have sample all layers on at the very top, and we are going to select on the outside of our image. If you don't have select all layers on, you can see the bottom right, I have two layers. One's called hair and outline, and one's called skull outline. If you don't have sample all layers on, just make sure that you have the layer that you want to selected, even if it's hidden or not. If not, it won't select it properly. So just make sure you have that on, or just make sure you have the proper layer selected. So we have our layer selected, but now we have the outside of the image selected. So if I were to draw on this, I would be drawing on the outside in the white space outside of my drawing. So we need to invert this selection. There is a quick shortcut on the keyboard to do this, but we're going to go down to select inverse, or you can do Shift Control I. So to inverse your selection. So now when I click this, everything will be on the inside of our drawing, but we can see kind of that it's on the outside, but we want to bring in our selection a couple pixels. And to do that, we're going to go select, modify, contract. And I'm going to go about, I'm going to say 3 pixels. And these are all, this will do that every single time you do this selection. It will do 3 pixels. So make sure, like, if you want it to be less or more, you can always do that. It also can be dependent on the size of your canvas. This is a 2000 by 2000 canvas. So try what works best for you. This is very modular. You can change it for what works best for your selections. Does the action always select the exact same spot when used? I believe it does. It does. That's actually a really good question. That's actually, I'm going to try that later. I'm not too sure, but I always, for my sake, when I do, I just always select on the outside of my image. Anywhere that's a blank space outside of your image, select there, because if you select inside your image, it's going to mess with it's going to refer to all your line work on the inside. Or if you're uncertain about it, you can click the top left-hand corner or something like that. So I have my selection contracted by a couple pixels. We're now going to make a new layer. We're going to make a new layer. And then we are going to grab our paint bucket tool and we are going to go inside of our shape and left click. Then I'm going to set my selection by just going Control D for deselect. And then before we touch anything else, we're going to hit the little square. We're going to stop our recording. And there we have our quick command. So in theory, if I didn't make any mistakes, if I delete this layer, I have my heron layer selected. I'm going to do Shift F2. And there we go. There's my layer above it. So the way that this works, it's always going to go above your selection or above your outline, and you can simply just drag it below. This having it go above your selection is the way that I found that works the best for all imagery. I ran into some problems trying to find a way that makes it go below always, but it's a quick little fix, just dragging it below your outline layer. And one thing to keep in mind, let's say I delete this again, any color you have selected here, let's say I go down to like this berry pink, any color you have on your color wheel, when you do this command, it will make it that color. So that's what dictates it. Or if you want it to be like a gray or something like that, you can certainly do that. Excuse me. You can certainly do that. I'm just so excited about my quick functions. I get all voice cracky when I get to teach people cool stuff. So now what if we have a more complex shape? You're probably asking yourself. What if we have something like this? Not as simple. We have some spots on the inside above the leaves there. But now if I do Shift F2 for our command, same thing happens with this shape, but we have these two little spots. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select my outline again, just a quick fix. I try to find a way to make this where it's like one button and it knows everything for all your layers. We're just going to click our outline again, back to Magic Wand tool, click in that negative spacer that we want, hold Shift to add an additional selection, click this other spot, go back down to our fill, press delete, and there we have our shape. A bit more complex, just something that I found that's a bit useful for doing things that maybe aren't as simple as a heron outline. You can always hit this a step farther as well by, you can be going back to your outline, selecting the things within the shapes as well. Say I just want these lemon pieces, go back down to my fill layer, copy, delete, and paste it in space. Control Shift V, paste things back exactly where you copied them from. And then I can start to separate these layers if I want. So that way I can just do quick fills, test out color palettes and stuff that see what I like. But just to keep the workflow going fast, that quick fill function I find quite useful. So right now we have our task, that quick function for the fill down to 2 keystrokes, Shift and F2. But if you're trying to save seconds, extra seconds, those valuable seconds, if you have an external device like a Stream Deck or an external like a a different keyboard or something like that, or a small little device, you can make it even faster by making it to one single button. And that's what I'm going to be doing, showing for you real quickly. I can open my Stream Deck here, and I have my Photoshop fill. You can see I have my Photoshop fill. I have my hotkey thing. I just dragged over the hotkey on the system here, and then I'll type Shift F2. And now I only need to press one button for the whole thing. And I'm laughing. I'm literally laughing right now how easy this is. In one single button, fill. I'm saving so much time, and you will too. I hope that you find this one useful. If you have any questions about this one, I'd be happy to answer. And this will work for most images. Just the most important thing is that you have a strong outline on your images. If you don't, the fill will not work. We're going to jump into our next one. I'm going to actually quickly have a little blueberry break, and I'm ready to move on. This one is for quick guides. So I'm sure many of you have used guides and stuff in Photoshop before. You might even be grabbing the top guide and trying to get the exact number right. I want to get just right on 600. Nope, 604, 2, 1. This will work incredibly well, but there are easier ways to go about it. First and foremost, if you don't see your ruler bar, you can just hit Control R to toggle that on and off. So blueberry is kind of sour, more sour than I would have wanted. But there's quicker ways to go about doing these guides. We can go to View, Guides, New Guide, and then we can select exactly 600. Perfect, exactly where I want it. But what if I want, picture a world, if you will, where in the click of a button, I can instantly have rule of thirds open, instantly have quadrants open for any single size canvas I desire. That is our reality, and I'll show you how to do it. We're gonna jump over to View, Guides, New Guide Layout. We see we can do multiple things here. We can do our quadrants, anything we could ever want. But each time we open a new document, I have to go back to View, go back to New Guide, set a new guide. But we're going to show you how you can save and use a quick function to make them as fast as you possibly can. So we're going to cancel this. We're going to go back to our actions bar. Again, if you don't see it, Windows, Actions, or Alt F9. We're going to create a new action. I'm going to call this one 3 guide because I'm going to do rule of thirds. I'm going to make this F3. I'll make it orange, Shift F3, and I'm going to record. And again, remember, we're recording, so anything that you do after this point will be part of the function. This one's a lot quicker than the quick fill one. So we're going to go F4 for this one because I already have F3 used. Going to go record. Now we're going to go back to View, Guides, New Guide Layout, and I really want this one in 3s. This is good for plan out your drawings, your compositions. You want things exactly, perfectly right, very precise. We're going to click OK. You can also use this for margins as well. If you want to set margins for like something you're going to do for print, you can have these used as margins instead on the outside. But I'm going to use rule of thirds for this example. Click OK. So I'm going to stop my selection. So then I have my guide, and I can hide my guides by doing the quick command Control semicolon. So that'll hide my guides. But if I want to clear my guides, we'll have to do something where we have to go over to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, go all the way down to View, the view tab here, guides. We're almost there. Clear guides, in which I made shift control semicolon. And that'll be important in a second, and I'll show you why. So if we are doing, we want to clear our guide, control shift semicolon. Now we can see if I do shift F3, which I've set to be my my 3 guide, shift control F4. Oh my gosh, getting so confused. Shift control F4, I can toggle that on. What's cool about this is if I go to, let's say, a larger canvas. This is 1920 by 1080, totally different parameters. But if I do my command again for my rule of thirds guide, shift control F4, it adds it and makes it exactly just to that shape. So I can do this for square, I can do this for whatever shape I want. And if I want to toggle that, hide that, it's just control semicolon or control shift semicolon to get rid of it forever. So what I've done as well is you can make this one step quicker by adding it to your external device. I have mine set to 3 guide. I'm going to make that shift control F4. And now with one button, I can have that. What the clear comes in handy for is I have a second one I made here for a center guide. So I'm going to clear this control shift semicolon. For my center guide, I'll make a new one real quick. And delete that. I'm going to make a new center guide function F3, do green. So now when I go over to view guide, new guide layout, I want it to be 2 and 2 if I want to find the exact center of my canvas or whatever I'm working on. Stop that. So now when I am, for whatever reason, if I want to toggle between rule of third or center, I can just control shift, clear my guide, and then do my center guide with shift F3. It gets a little bit, there's a lot to keep in mind for these ones. Most likely you are not going to need to using multiple different guides for the same image, but for whatever reason, if you feel like you have to do that, you can always clear those or toggle them or put them back on. But I found that quite useful for opening for my rule of thirds. Say I want to clear this and then open back up to my center guide. Quick and easy. If that one is a little bit difficult, but so if that's a little bit too fast for you, feel free to go back through the VOD and slow me down. So I find that one quite useful. How's it going, Andrew? Welcome. We've got a couple more quick things to go. How much I got a little bit more time. Let's see what I can do in a couple of minutes. This one I thought was really smart. I was like, I figured this out. So smart. And I talked to a friend of mine and they're like, you could just do this, which is even simpler. So I'm going to show you a couple quick ways to go about doing having multiple view in view windows of your same image. I'm sure you've seen artists before who have a second window where their one image is really zoomed in, their one image is really zoomed out so they can see all the different stuff that they're working on. They can get in really deep in their drawing, right into the pixels, and then still see the full composition to see how it all looks and see how it doesn't really look that different when you're drawing in that close. So the quickest way to go about doing this is I've seen different things on YouTube and online where people will do they'll go like a window, arrange, new window, and they'll go view, or sorry, window, arrange, 2 up horizontal or 2 up vertical, whatever that might be. Let's see, I did that wrong. 2 up horizontal. Nope, the same thing. 2 up vertical. Oh my gosh. But there's a quicker way to go about it. And it's through the navigation panel. I thought the navigation panel was just a little guy in the corner. So if I go down to window, navigator, I thought it was just a little guy in the corner. It could never be any bigger than how big I dragged this out Oh, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. You can see here, if I want to zoom in, I'll use my quick fill function to fill this in. And I can see how if I'm really zoomed in here, I want to color this something, it's updating there. But what if I want it larger? Drag my navigator out, pin it to the side, and it snaps there. And that way I can get in as close as I want, paint in, and see how it affects my larger canvas. One thing that this does above doing a window and window version is I find window and window does not update the preview screen, the one on the right, preview screen in real time, unless I click to the right. So for whatever reason that is, this one will update as soon as you let go of your brush. It updates on the right-hand side. The other ways I've seen don't quite do that. If you are doing it the other way and you are finding that you cannot get it to stop zooming both at the same time, both your windows are zooming together, quick way to fix that is clicking your magnifying glass or zoom tool and making sure you have zoom all windows, the top left there, zoom all windows turned off. For some reason, I had that same problem and I could not find a solution for it. It's as simple as toggling zoom all windows off. That's if you don't want to use a navigator, you want to go to having two separate files and having them be popped up through that workspace. Hey Jack, what's going on? So you're at 1224. I'm gonna pop this back where it belongs in the corner. Get rid of this little purple thing. I'm gonna give you a quick little bonus function. We've got a couple minutes here left. Quick little bonus function is the quick export as PNG. I know I can go save, quick save to my desktop, but what if I wanted to do it in less buttons? My fingers are tired from drawing all day. I need less buttons to press. We're gonna go over to File, Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts. We're gonna go all the way over to File, scroll down till we see Quick Export as PNG. I have mine set to Alt-Control-S. So to do that, we're just gonna click that Alt-Control-S. And now, whenever I need to quickly export a funny meme that I made of my friends or whatever drawing just to see or to send something to a client really fast, I can just Control-Shift-S and goes right to my desktop, saves artboard 1, and then it's there. It's on my desktop, it's ready to go. It's easy, it's simple. So just in a recap of what we've gone over today, I showed you all how to do a quick function for a quick fill where we were able to do this in the click of one button, fill our shapes and our drawings of any different shape or size. You can see here as well in one button, fill our shape to whatever color we want. And we can work from there. As well as we went over talking about how to implement quick guides as well, and how we can in one button open up a quick guide that works for any size canvas, square, rectangle. I was going to say triangle. That would be something to see. Square, rectangle, whatever size that you want, as well as how to hide, toggle, and clear those. But that's all we've got for today. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to jump over to our next stream with Howard Pinsky for a weekly challenge, and hope you have a great day. Thanks for joining me.